According to General Hospital spoilers, the stakes are high in Port Charles, with Carly Spencer perhaps left scrambling to protect Sonny Corinthos from a triple threat. His reckless setup of Natalia Ramirez, Jen Sidwell's unrelenting targeting, and Ada Justine Turner's strong legal pursuit. With Sonny's plan to eliminate Natalia backfiring with her death, Sidwell's power grab growing following the Charlie's Pub firebombing, and Turner closing in with evidence to smash his empire, Carly's allegiance is sure to go into overdrive. Could her next attempt to save Sonny include a phony marriage to show a united front, repeating their previous schemes? Will fans have to undergo another manufactured union to keep Sonny free? Or is a new play in the works? Sonny's triple threat tests Carly's limits. Sonny's planned attempt to shape Natalia's future in order to silence her has crumbled, with her drunken outburst at Daisy Corinthos Gilmore's baptism, and her suicide bolstering Turner's case. Sidwell's actions, including the unsolved penthouse bombing, indicate his desire to acquire Sonny's peers, while Turner's approaching proof suggests jail time. Carly, his ride or die, may propose a false marriage to represent stability, as we've seen so many times before. Diane Miller may make this idea again, but would Sonny acquiesce or opt for a riskier counterattack? Can a fake marriage save the day? Carly's history of fake unions with Sonny makes this a viable strategy. Remarrying could affect public opinion and harm Turner's case, especially if Carly presents it as a family-first decision for Avery Corinthos. Her blossoming romance with WSB chief Jack Brennan, however, complicates matters significantly. He would never understand, and she couldn't possibly reveal her genuine intentions, even if he could guess. Will Carly and Sonny orchestrate a wedding that fools Turner and Sidwell, or will it backfire, garnering scrutiny from the WSB and Police Commissioner Anna Devane? Fans prepare for another ploy. A fictitious marriage could help Sonny's empire by sheltering him from Turner's prosecution and Sidwell's hostility, but it also risks alienating Carly's new love interest. Many fans are unlikely to support this masquerade, but we are eager for Sonny to find love again, but not at Carly's expense. Can a scheme to save Sonny with yet another phony marriage keep him out of danger, or will it fail under the weight of Port Charles's chaos? Keep coming back for more GH updates and spoilers. Carly had gone down this road before. She'd repeatedly thrown herself into the flames to protect those she loved, most notably Sonny. Even now, after everything they'd been through, Carly couldn't stand by and watch his life devolve into turmoil. With Sonny facing legal, emotional, and even bodily threats, Carly was forced to make a decision that might change everything for both of them. The burden of their common history hovered over her like a storm cloud. She had loved, fought for, and lost him more times than she could remember. And despite the grief and blunders they'd both made, her instincts drew her back into his circle. Carly felt she couldn't let Sonny lose everything without a fight. She paced around her kitchen, a nervous energy emanating from her. Donna was upstairs with Jocelyn, and the silence in the house only fueled her racing mind. Diane had just departed, having given her the most recent information on Sonny's escalating legal difficulties. The authorities were closing in again. This time the stakes were raised. RICO charges, federal monitoring, informants may be implanted in Sonny's circle. Charges that would not go away on their own, even for a man with as many lives as Sonny Corinthos. Worse, the feds were targeting more than simply Sonny. They were after everyone affiliated with him. This included Carly, their children, and even Jason. Sonny had attempted to protect them all, claiming he would handle everything. But Carly knew better. Sonny's pride was both his protection and his downfall. He refused to ask for aid even while he was drowning. That is why Carly had to act. She couldn't just sit on the sidelines and hope everything worked out. She needed to be proactive. She needed a plan. And that's when the thought took hold, winding its way into her consciousness until it was impossible to ignore. Carly previously married Sonny to protect him from prosecution. It had been a convenient marriage on paper anyhow, but everyone around them understood there was nothing convenient about Carly and Sonny's relationship. Their love was complex, messy, passionate, and frequently self-destructive. But it was real. Carly wasn't sure if she still loved him the way she once did. But she realized she couldn't let him go to prison when there was a chance she could prevent it. That's when she picked up the phone and made her first call to Diane. Diane first rejected the concept. Another bogus marriage? The courts weren't foolish. They have seen this before. However, when Carly lay out the risks, mounting threats and decreasing options, Diane began to understand the value in it. If Sonny were legally married to Carly again, she could claim spousal privilege. She could not be compelled to testify against him. He could not be compelled to testify against her. It provided a legal cushion, although a brief one. And right now, Carly would take any buffer she could find. The challenge was persuading Sonny. He was unlikely to agree. Not with Nina still in the picture, despite the fact that their relationship was falling apart. Sonny had been distant for some months. Carly had seen the frenetic energy, paranoia, and secrecy before. She felt he was spinning again, and not just because of the legal situation. Something deeper was eating at him. It wasn't only the feds. Perhaps it was guilt, loss, or the simple awareness that he no longer knew who he could trust. Carly was all too familiar with that feeling. However, suggesting another marriage to him would be delicate. If she came in too forcefully, he'd push her aside. If she hesitated, the opportunity might be lost. Timing was everything. So she waited until she could get him alone. Just the two of them, no Nina, guards, or lawyers. That moment occurred one tranquil evening on the patio of Sonny's penthouse. Carly had arrived unannounced, as she frequently did, but this time Sonny had not sent her away. He appeared jaded and older, burdened by the decisions he'd taken and the adversaries drawing in. She sat alongside him, allowing the silence to spread between them. They didn't require words right immediately. Finally she spoke, her tone steady yet gentle. "I have a way to help you," she said. Sonny did not answer at first. He sipped his bourbon and stared out into the darkness. "Carly, you've helped me enough. More than enough. This is different," she added. "This is to keep you out of prison. About protecting Donna, Michael, and everyone." Sonny shuddered at the mention of the kids. That was always the pressure point. Family. Loyalty. "You believe you know the answer?" he inquired coldly. "I think we both know how this works," Carly said. "We've done it before." He turned to face her, his eyes narrowing. "You want to marry me? Again?" "It would buy us time," she explained. "Spousal privileges. They cannot force us to testify." "Do you really think they'll fall for that?" He scoffed. "They'd see right through it." "Maybe," she confessed. "However, even a few weeks may be enough to change the game. You hire a new lawyer. You figure out where the leaks are. You handle your own business." Sonny looked aside again, his jaw tight. He did not respond right away, and Carly did not press. She understood he would need time to consider everything, the risks, the optics, and the personal cost. Marrying Carly again would send a message to everyone. Nina had left, Carly had rejoined his inner circle, and the Corinthos dynasty was cementing its dominance. Allies would find it reassuring. For foes it would pose a threat. And what about Nina? It would be disastrous. Carly was not doing anything to harm her. At least that is what she told herself. Nina had harmed many people with her secrets and plans, but this was not about vengeance. It was about surviving. Nonetheless, the collateral damage would be a catastrophe, and it was presuming Sonny would agree. But, to Carly's amazement, he did not decline. He did not say yes either. But a few days later, Diane called to provide an update. Sonny had asked her to complete preliminary paperwork. This was all Carly needed to know. The plan was moving forward. They planned a private civil wedding with no press or relatives, just a legal witness and a signature. Carly did not want a dress. She did not want flowers. She wanted security for her family and a shield for the man who had given her so much of his life, even though they were on opposing sides. Jason was the only person she told beforehand. He understood quickly and did not dispute her decision. He just stated, "If this is what you need to do, I've got your back." Michael, on the other hand, was not as understanding. He learned out through one of Dex's hushed whispers, news including secrets, spreads quickly in Port Charles. Michael confronted Carly. His face hardened with betrayal. "Are you marrying him again? After everything?" "It's not about love," she informed him. "It is about keeping your father out of prison. It is about Donna." Michael was not convinced. His feelings for Sonny had become more convoluted over time, particularly after Nina, the mob mayhem, and the recurring disappointments. But Carly was not seeking his praise. She was requesting room to do what she felt was required. On the wedding day, Carly and Sonny met at City Hall. He donned a plain black suit. She wore navy blue. It was not romantic. It was not nostalgic. It was transactional, yet there was an evident tension between them. They said brief vows, signed the paperwork, and walked out into the sunlight as husband and wife once more. And with that, the storm began to move. Carly sought spousal privilege the next day, after the marriage was officially declared. Federal subpoenas have lost their teeth. Prosecutors scrambled to adjust. Diane used the breathing room to delve more into the allegations and construct a counter-narrative. Sonny's adversaries had no idea what to make of the development. Nina disappeared from public view. She stopped visiting the Metro court. She disregarded Sonny's calls. The silence was terrible. But the true ramifications had only just begun. Carly had crossed the line again. She had tied herself to Sonny not only legally but emotionally. Even though she assured herself it was only temporary, a sliver of doubt persisted in her chest. She'd done it before after all. They said it was only for a time. Said it was merely for protection. Then the old patterns resurfaced. The nights. The arguments. The passion. The chaos. She had created walls since the last time. This new marriage was not meant to represent anything. But with Sonny, nothing was ever that simple. Nina finally showed up at Ava's gallery a week later. She looked stunned, deceived, and enraged all at once. She accused Carly of manipulating Sonny, taking advantage of his vulnerabilities, and constantly finding a way back in. Carly stood her ground. She did not raise her voice. She just said, "You had your chance. You made your choice." The dispute was renewed overnight. Carly and Nina were now engaged in a quiet war, fought with gossip, glares, and clever whispers in the appropriate ears. The power dynamics in Port Charles were shifting again. And Carly, whether she wanted to admit it or not, was once again in the spotlight. As the legal heat subsided little, other challenges arose. Jason began investigating who might have provided information to the feds. All signs pointed to someone close, possibly Sonny's new associate who had only been with him for a few months. Carly suspected it may be someone related to Ava or worse, Dex. Trust was in short supply, and the sham marriage had done nothing to calm the wider tumult. And yet, for the first time in months, Carly felt in charge. She could protect her family. She could protect Sonny. She wasn't sure how long. The falsehood could not last forever. Eventually, the truth would come out. They weren't really back together in the manner everyone assumed. Or were they? Late one night, Sonny knocked on Carly's door. He appeared lost and fatigued again, as if the weight had never left his shoulders. "I don't know what I'd do without you," he said sadly. Carly didn't respond. She stood there holding the door open, her heart hammering. Perhaps it began as a sham marriage. But in Port Charles, nothing remained phony for long. According to General Hospital teasers, Sonny Corinthos could face charges for the murder of Natalia Rogers Ramirez. Marco Rios has already pointed the finger at Sonny in front of Anna Devane and Harrison Chase. Even though Natalia appears to have overdosed on tranquilizers, the scene is exceedingly suspicious, considering one of Sonny's guards was watching over her and preparing to take her to Belize. Natalia possesses damaging evidence against Sonny, and he clearly wanted her gone, thus he is a person of interest in her killing. Sonny did not kill Natalia, but it appears that way. Sonny may be astonished when he is arrested for the crime. Sonny Corinthos is taken in for questioning. The PCPD will question Sonny, since the circumstances surrounding Natalia's death appear fishy. Anna would interrogate Sonny about his relationship with Natalia, and why his guard was hanging out in her room before she died. Natalia overdosed on booze and tranquilizers, and it appears that the guard may have acted on Sonny's behalf. Anna believes Sonny staged Natalia's death to get rid of her since she had critical evidence against him. Sonny refused to say anything until his lawyer, Diane Miller, came, and he would confer with her first. The PCPD let Sonny Corinthos go for now. After questioning Sonny, the PCPD decided to let him go for the time being because they had nothing to hold him to. Acting District Attorney Justine Turner would press Anna for evidence to make an arrest, and Anna might come upon some that would allow it. Sonny would convince Jason Morgan that he did not kill Natalia and that she committed suicide. Jason would believe him, and they'd have to devise a way to establish his innocence. Marco Rios presents evidence against Sonny Corinthos. A vindictive Marco could locate evidence of Natalia's financial records and deception, and send it over to police. This would indicate that Sonny had a solid reason to want Natalia dead. And there is also camera evidence of Sonny's security hanging around in front of Natalia's door at the Metro Court. Anna, unable to ignore the increasing evidence, would be forced to track down and arrest Sonny. Sonny Corinthos is arrested. Anna would find Sonny and arrest him for the murder of Natalia Rogers Ramirez. Sonny would claim he is innocent and did not kill her. Anna would inform him that they had evidence and that he was being charged. Jason would call Diane and Sonny would be sent to jail. Will the truth be revealed that Natalia committed suicide and Sonny did not kill her? What do you think? What are your thoughts? Do you believe Sonny will be charged with Natalia's murder? Will Marco turn over proof against Sonny? Can Sonny prove he is innocent? Keep watching General Hospital, which airs on ABC weekdays, to find out what happens next. Sonny Corinthos had experienced numerous conflicts in his life, ranging from mob wars to betrayals and family tragedies. But nothing prepared him for the startling claim that drove Port Charles into a tailspin. Natalia Rogers Ramirez was discovered dead under mysterious circumstances, and Sonny was arrested and charged with her murder shortly thereafter. The courtroom was more than just a venue for a legal battle. It was also where alliances, secrets, and decades-old grievances erupted. Every Port Charles person had an opinion, and none of them could have predicted the ripple effects this case would cause. Natalia's death caused shockwaves throughout the neighborhood. She had just emerged as a formidable figure, caring yet fiercely protective of her daughter Blaze. Her relationship with Christina had caused issues in the Corinthos family, and despite Natalia's initial opposition to Christina's lifestyle, the two appeared to have reached an agreement, until her abrupt and violent death. The official report revealed blunt force injuries to the skull, but rumors of foul play and mob involvement rapidly circulated. The arrest happened faster than everyone expected. Sonny had just gotten home after a pleasant evening at the Metro Court when police stormed his penthouse. Dante was there, divided between his investigative responsibilities and his pain as a son. The expression in Sonny's eyes when the cuffs clicked around his wrists said it all. He wasn't just angry. He felt deceived, bewildered, and possibly even terrified. At the PCPD, Sonny didn't say much. His lawyer, Diane Miller, was summoned right away, but she too was shaken. The evidence was not circumstantial. There were phone records, a witness who reported seeing Sonny near Natalia's apartment that night, and worst of all, a security camera from a nearby business that showed someone matching Sonny's profile entering the building. The tape was shaky, and Sonny insisted he hadn't been there. But in a town with more enemies than allies, that wasn't enough. Christina was crushed. Her mother figure is no longer present. Her father is charged. She stood in the midst of a whirlwind, refusing to believe Sonny could do such a thing, yet helpless to explain away the evidence that were piling up. Blaze, inconsolable, withdrew from public view. She refused to react to the press, fans, or even Christina. She was genuinely wounded, and her sadness turned inward, isolating her just when she needed consolation the most. Carly raced to Sonny's side. Despite everything they'd gone through, betrayals, breakups, and near-death experiences, her commitment to him never wavered. She couldn't believe Sonny would hurt Natalia, so she launched her own discreet investigation. She drew Jason into it, who had just returned to Port Charles after a mysterious trip. Jason's senses warned him that something about this felt off, too clean, too handy, and too well planned. Drew Kane saw this as an opportunity. He had his own purpose for wanting Sonny out of the picture. With Sonny's empire collapsing, Drew began reaching out to Sonny's business acquaintances under the premise of helping keep things afloat, but everyone could tell his ambition was taking over. Michael, Sonny's son and heir apparent to both his business and his values, wasn't sure where he stood. He loved his father, but his trust had been violated too many times. With Willow imploring him to remain neutral for the sake of peace, Michael fought to keep his emotions under control. The judicial hearings began just 1 week following the arrest. Diane's opening words were great, presenting Sonny as a target, a man who is always threatened with being framed or falsely implicated. The prosecution, led by Marissa Vick, a new and ambitious ADA, painted a completely different picture of a guy losing control, threatened by Natalia's growing power over Christina, and lashing out in a fit of wrath. The jury listened as witness after witness spoke, some with accurate memories, others with hazy memories influenced by hearsay and bias. Esme Prince, a surprise witness, claimed she saw Sonny and Natalia bickering in the park just days before her death. Her believability was weak at best, but the specifics of her account gave it weight. Esme's involvement surprised everyone. Since retrieving her memories and attempting to live a cleaner life, she had generally avoided the turmoil. However, her abrupt reappearance raised questions and made Diane suspicious. Meanwhile, Ava Jerome started her own side quest. She had never trusted Esme, and something about her unexpected testimony seemed too opportune. Ava contacted Trina, who utilized her technical expertise to investigate phone information and social media tendencies. What they uncovered was troubling. Esme had communicated with someone via a burner phone, a number that could be traced back to an offshore account linked to Pikeman's security firm, the same mystery firm with which Sonny had clashed months before. Sonny's situation deteriorated once he returned to court. A bloody glove was discovered near the dumpster behind Natalia's building, and its DNA matched Sonny. But Diane was undeterred. She questioned the chain of custody and emphasized how simple it would have been to plant evidence, especially given Sonny's background and the number of individuals who wanted him to fail. Christina, desperate for help, took the stand. She spoke from the heart, telling the court that her father may be angry, stubborn, and even dangerous, but he was not a killer, and he had grown to appreciate Natalia, even if they did not always agree. Her testimony moved many people, but it was unclear if it would sway the jury. Jason, working with Spinelli, discovered a lead that blew the case wide open. Reggie Lennox, a former Pikeman operative, had been in Port Charles the night Natalia died. Surveillance footage from the docks showed him driving a dark SUV with out-of-state plates. Lennox had a history of deception and cover-ups, and he once attempted to disrupt Sonny's activities by infiltrating his warehouses. Jason thought this wasn't just a revenge killing, but part of a wider scheme. Spinelli labored night and day to decipher a hard disk seized from an abandoned warehouse connected to Lennox. When the files were ultimately accessed, they revealed audio recordings, some severely distorted and others crystal clear. One unsettling audio was a conversation between Lennox and someone only identified as the buyer, in which they discussed how killing Natalia would destabilize Sonny emotionally and legally. Another clip appeared to be spliced audio designed to simulate Sonny's voice, ideal for framing. Jason presented the disc to Diane, who quickly requested a break in court. She played the video for the judge and asked for a full forensic inquiry. Marissa Vick objected, arguing that the evidence had been tampered with and was therefore inadmissible. But popular opinion was starting to shift. Reporters were covering the incident, and the court of public opinion was no longer completely against Sonny. Back at the PCPD, Dante was quietly investigating the Pikeman connection. Despite his role in his father's detention, he had not stopped digging. He wanted to believe Sonny was innocent, and each additional piece of evidence pointing away from him provided some relief and guilt. Dante was aware of the harm the arrest had caused, and he was resolved to make amends. Meanwhile, Blaze finally broke her silence. She gave a brief press conference, thanking the people of Port Charles for their support and pleading for patience. She did not openly accuse Sonny, but she did ask law enforcement to investigate more. Her statements were powerful, and her public support for a thorough probe piled more pressure on the prosecution's poor base. In a final twist, Spinelli traced the buyer's voice in the recording to an executive working with Pikeman, someone with ties to former Port Charles officials long thought dead. Diane recognized the name immediately, Anthony Zachara. Despite being considered dead for years, rumors of his survival lingered throughout the underground. If he was manipulating strings from behind the scenes, Sonny's condition was part of a much larger game. With all of this fresh evidence, the court ordered a postponement in the trial. Diane argued for a complete dismissal of charges, citing improper arrest and prosecutorial misconduct. The request failed, but Sonny was released on bond pending further inquiry. The day he stepped out of jail, the audience outside the courthouse was divided. Some celebrated, while others yelled accusations. Sonny said nothing. He simply stared up at the sky, as if begging for guidance or forgiveness. Back at home, things were far from resolved. Christina was attempting to restore her connection with Blaze, but the agony of losing Natalia remained between them. Michael was quietly speaking with Diane, wondering what might be done to keep the family safe moving forward. Drew was still manipulating in the background, his motivations becoming more ambiguous by the day. Carly and Jason, tenacious as ever, decided to discover who was behind it all. Port Charles had experienced its fair share of scandals, grief, and betrayals. But this was a new level of personal misery for Sonny. He was suspected of murdering the mother of his daughter's partner. As the shadows increased and foes emerged, it became evident that the conflict was far from ended. It had barely just begun. And for Sonny Corinthos, survival meant trusting the people he had previously shunned, delving into every nook and cranny of his past, and unearthing a conspiracy far larger and deeper than he could have imagined. With the wheels of justice grinding slowly forward and foes lurking in the shadows, Sonny prepared for the next battle. Whatever happened next, he knew one thing for certain. Natalia's murder was not a crime of passion. It was a message, one that he now needed to decipher before it ruined everything, and everyone he loved. General Hospital spoilers warn that Sasha Gilmore Corbin is about to have a horrific meltdown. It appears like Sasha will make her worst Daisy Gilmore discovery yet at the Quartermain estate, so let's discuss what's in store. GH viewers are aware that Sasha has been disturbed by some strange Daisy-related incidents, beginning with the bassinet catastrophe at the hospital. Daisy's phone inexplicably went on when she returned home, perplexing Sasha. Sasha was even more perplexed when she discovered Daisy in her cot, facing the opposite direction and dressed very differently. Someone is obviously enamored with the baby and wants to screw with Sasha's head. Unfortunately, they aren't done yet. As General Hospital teasers indicate, Sasha will uncover a shocking discovery on the July 7th episode. What will Sasha discover when things continue to worsen and she becomes increasingly concerned? You can guarantee it'll be tied to the Daisy mystery and all the strange things that keep happening. It would certainly be a terrible finding if Sasha discovered Daisy's crib or bassinet empty, but other GH teasers do not indicate Daisy's disappearance, at least not yet. Michael Corinthos and other persons who care about Daisy appear to have different plans for the week of July 7th to 11th. That could indicate that the show will postpone any kidnapping developments. With that in mind, perhaps Sasha will discover anything more disturbing in Daisy's bedroom. It's easy to picture some bricks spelling "she's mine," or another message. On the other side, maybe there's a bouquet of daisies with an unsettling card someplace in the house. Sasha may get an anonymous message that confirms her suspicions that someone is targeting her baby girl. Whatever happens, Sasha will undoubtedly have a meltdown at some scary news, and be concerned that there will be more difficulty ahead. According to General Hospital spoilers, Sasha will go to any length to protect Daisy, so stay tuned for more information on her next move. The Quartermain home had always kept its secrets hidden behind its lavish walls, but the one Sasha was about to reveal would change everything. The storm that had been brewing outside appeared almost prophetic, winds howling, thunder thundering through the Corinthos estate, and the sky darkening over Port Charles. Inside the mansion, Sasha strolled the corridors with an uneasy feeling that had nothing to do with the weather. The Quartermains had invited her to dinner, but she arrived early to gather her thoughts. She hadn't anticipated to discover a truth that would challenge everything she thought she understood. It began simply enough. Sasha had been searching for Monica, but she was not in the living room or kitchen. She planned to wait in the solarium, which had always been her favorite section of the estate. On her approach there, she noticed a faint noise, a quiet, childlike voice coming from the long-closed wing of the home. The doors were supposed to remain locked, particularly when the renovations began. But one was ajar, creaking gently in the breeze. Sasha should have disregarded it. She knew that, but something drove her forward. She felt a peculiar chill run up her spine as she stepped into the corridor, her heels echoing ominously against the polished wood floor.